Cairo, Seattle.
It's time to get schooled with the professor, John Clayton.
Let's have a little bit of fun here with Schooled with the Professor because we're just going to talk family. And, of course, no better family in the National Football League than the Matthews family. We're talking about 3 generations of football players, all good, all have great history, and all have the ability to talk about what it's like to have this type of a length of success in the National Football League. We're talking to Bruce Matthews, the Hall of Fame offensive lineman, who ironically played about every spot on the offensive line and had such a great career. But boy, I mean, you talk about such great names, Clay Matthews Sr., Clay Matthews Jr., there's now Clay Matthews III, Casey Matthews is in there. From the Bruce side of it, you have Kevin Matthews, Jake Matthews, Mike Matthews, and of course, all that intrigue in the history. So what's it like to be out there with your family for 3 generations? I mean, all you've done is just talk football, play football, compare. And can you imagine some of the little skirmishes that go on in the house? I mean, what a fun thing to be able to go through that and being part of such a great sport, but also being so good at it. I mean, you have those arguments about who was the best in the family, who meant more to the National Football League. But boy, to have that great success, and then also think about how many practices that family members had to watch family members. I mean, just growing up in a football family had to be a blast, and we'll get into that story with Hall of Famer Bruce Matthews. Hey, Bruce, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing, John?
Doing great. Looking forward to this weekend. It's going to be fantastic.
I agree.
Get to go to New England and see the Patriots. That'll be kind of fun. See if the footballs are deflated and see if Ben Roethlisberger can get something going. See if the headsets work.
We're going to Atlanta for the Matthews Bowl.
Oh, I can.
Jake versus Clay.
I know. How great is that?
Yeah, we're excited.
Yeah, this is going to be absolutely fun talking about family football with the great family of the Matthews family with so many different things. But the interesting part is, I mean, how many other people that have you run across that had similar experiences? I mean, I don't think there's too many 3-generation football families that you have that type of lifestyle, that type of things going on. I can't think of any.
Yeah, it's pretty unique, and I think the cool part for my brother Clay and I is to see the next generation, the way they've embraced it and trying to make their own identity. And, the NFL is a very tough game, as you well know, and persevering in this game teaches you so many lessons, not only about the game or about you as an individual, but teaches you life lessons that you can't learn anywhere else.
Yeah, because, I mean, here you are this weekend. You're going to go to the Atlanta game, see Green Bay, where you have Clay's son, Clay, playing your son, the left tackle, Jake. And, of course, they may go at each other a lot of times in this game.
Yeah, they definitely will. In fact, 2 years ago, Jake's rookie year, they played up at Green Bay on Monday night, and it's hard sometimes. And I want Clay to do well. I want him to have a great game. Naturally, none of it at the expense of Jake, but at the same time, we want the Falcons to come out on top. But the one positive is the fact that there'll definitely be one Matthews in Houston for the Super Bowl, which is, you can't beat that with a stick.
Curiously, I was at the Atlanta-Green Bay game, that 33-32 thriller that was just phenomenal. I mean, did Clay go up a lot in that game rushing against Jake?
He did, and he fell off into a sack, and my brother and I had a little conversation based upon it, but it didn't go very far because we were both passionate. Him from a pass rusher's perspective and me from an offensive line and pass protection perspective. And the cool thing is we're so proud of the nephews, and the cousins are the same ways. They're so proud of their cousins, brothers, and everything that they've accomplished, and it really is a family affair, and it's something that, like I said, they've embraced, and they're very proud of being Matthews.
Tell me a little bit about the book, Inside the NFL First Family, My Life of Football, Faith, and Fatherhood.
The big thing I wanted to communicate, I think, was just from a perspective of being an NFL fan myself. There are a lot of times in my past where I've sat down with players and heard their stories and just stuff that's unique to them, and I just found it so entertaining. And I think fans in the NFL will enjoy that. And then secondly, I think some of the stuff that I personally have gone through, whether it's depression or having a special needs child or just the franchise moving, things that maybe other people haven't experienced, but they have had their issues in their own life. And I just wanted to offer encouragement and a way to kind of express some of the things that I've gone through and the ways that I think the Lord has used it in my life to grow me and make me a better person. So it was a very enjoyable process to go through. At times, it was apparent that I really enjoyed it. Then there are other times I'm thinking, man, now I know why I haven't thought about this in 40 years. And so it was kind of therapeutic going through the whole process.
Well, your brother Clay was a linebacker, and of course you were an offensive lineman. It was hard each year to figure out which spot you were going to play because you played every spot on the offensive line. How many times did you go head-to-head against Clay where he's coming at you and you're trying to block him?
A lot. And I look back with great fondness, and I always was excited for when we played his teams, and I was fortunate that the Browns were in our division, so we played them twice a year. And it really was a treat for me, and I think the family as well. But there definitely is that dynamic, that kind of cutting edge, kind of, I want my brother to do well. But like in 1986, for example, he beat me for a sack. And, I hate giving up sacks. But then when I reflected on it for a while, I go, well, if I had to give up a sack, then I'm glad I gave it up to my brother. So it kind of works those ways. Sometimes if one Matthews wins, then the other one loses. But, again, we're very blessed to be in this position, and we're thankful that we have this opportunity.
Yeah, of course. I mean, those are the games, and that's, one day out of a week. What's it like during the week, the year, and that growing up in a football family like that?
It's neat because my brother's kids are all linebackers, and all my kids are offensive linemen.
So this is DNA. This is DNA then, right?
Yes, absolutely. And we have conversations, whether it be Luke in high school or Mike, who just finished up at A&M and is trying to break into the league, or Jake in the NFL. And the boys talk about it too. They talk about stuff that they see and approaches that they might use. And it's really a neat dynamic. And it's a language that kind of we only speak. Because my wife, Carrie, will be like, yeah, it's kind of cool that you guys are talking about that, but I have no idea what you're talking about.
I mean, what's the toughest part about growing up in a family like this? Is it just having so many family members watching the practices, or is it just the games, or just the combative type of things you might do in the household?
I think that might be it. That they can be hard on each other at times, and they'll fight like cats and dogs with each other. But don't let anyone else outside of the Matthews family mess with my brother. And the thing is that we, like my dad did to Clay and I, he never pushed the game on us or said we had to play, but he had some very basic rules. It was, if you do play, you aren't going to quit. You're going to give great effort, and you're going to do what the coach says. And we've kind of, my brother Clay and I have kind of instilled that in our boys. And it's, again, going back to the DNA, it's kind of in our genes that we have a great love and respect for this game, and it's something that we feel very privileged to be able to do.
Both you and Clay had such long careers, but what was longer? The careers in football, or going to how many practices that you did to watch all these Matthews play, not during the week, and I would imagine starting at a very young age?
Yeah, the thing is, John, that I enjoy going to practice and watching my kids get after it and compete, and because I can sense in them that they enjoy it. And, I get what you're saying. There are times where it does become a grind, and you sometimes wish, hey, wouldn't it be nice to be able to take a trip in the fall or early winter? Oh yeah, we got football. But we enjoy it, and that's kind of the way we choose to live our life, and it's kind of a non-negotiable. In fact, Mikey's getting married in March, and then my daughter Marilyn is getting married next year, and they know that they can't get married in the fall because, the family business, if you will, is going on.
Talk a little bit about how this all started with HL and Clay. This 3 generations that kind of got kicked off and now continues to grow and grow.
Right. My granddad, Matty Matthews, was a minor league baseball player, and he taught boxing at the Citadel until they disbanded it as a collegiate sport. And he taught all the boys in the neighborhood how to box, taught my dad and uncles. And my dad was the Golden Gloves heavyweight champion of Georgia in 1949 and 50. And while at the same time he won the conference championship in wrestling at Georgia Tech, and then also was playing football for Bobby Dodd down at Georgia Tech. So there's really a lineage prior to Clay and I, and we just kind of tapped into it and kind of singled out football, I think, as the game of choice for the Matthews. And again, I say it with all due respect, but it's part of the neatest part is seeing how the next generation, the nephews and my sons, have embraced this, and it's important to them, and they value the privilege that they've been given.
Does it look like it's going to be a 4th generation?
Well, there's Clay's son he's affectionately known as C4. And then Kevin, my son, we have 2 grandsons, Weston and Sawyer, and, they're all very young. And I'm sure Kevin and Clay and everyone else, Casey has a son, Braylon, that they'll be given that opportunity, but, we'll see how it goes out. There'll be no pressure. I do know that.
Well, that's good. When you're talking about the book Inside the NFL's First Family, My Life of Football, Faith, and Fatherhood, there's some depression involved there.
Yeah, my mother suffered from depression a lot, very much in the late 60s, early 70s, and up through when she passed away from cancer in 1984. And then I've struggled at times with depression when I was younger, at times during my career, and a few times after. And I think the biggest point that I would like to make in sharing that is that, especially as men, we're so hesitant to ask for help. But there's help out there, and whether it's a doctor or counseling or medication or just knowing that someone else is going through what you're going through, that there are empathetic people out there who can offer encouragement, and, don't try and man up on something like that. And it's just part of the Matthews. A few of us in the family have kind of had to deal with that. And I have great respect for people that deal with depression, because sometimes getting up and getting through the day is in itself such a great accomplishment, dealing with those feelings of depression.
Well, it does sound like you're in a good place now. Have you been that way for now some time? In a good
Oh, yes. For me, I would have a period of weeks or maybe even months, and then typically it would go away. And, I have used some medication, but it's something also, like I said, that just knowing that there are people to talk to and people that can offer encouragement has been very helpful for me.
Well, I'm happy for that. Now I got to put some pressure on you. Can you go through the family and kind of rate how good the football players are? Who is the best, do you think? Who's going to be the best? How that all sorts out? In other words, do you go linebacker or do you go offensive line?
Well, of course, the best players always are offensive linemen. So, are you kidding? I start rating people, then I start getting death threats from within my family. I can't do that.
I know. I just wanted to I just wanted to throw out that pressure question because it's a natural thing. But again, it's like to have so many first-round picks, so many star players. I mean, it's amazing to think of all the accomplishments over such a long period of time.
It is, and I honestly believe, John, that their guys are cousins and brothers are genuinely happy for what the other Matthews have accomplished. And like I said, as a father and uncle, it's been something that's been enjoyable to watch.
And naturally, you're going to be rooting for the offensive line coming up on Sunday as Jake takes on Clay.
Right. And we kind of got a vested interest in the AFC championship as well, with Mike Munchak coaching the Pittsburgh Steelers line. It'd be great to see Munch and the boys coming down to Houston, back to his old stomping grounds. But obviously they've gotten their hands full with Tom Brady in New England.
Yeah, but of course that brings back memories for me because I covered Mike 1 year back when I was covering Penn State, so know him so well from those years. Hey, by the way, congratulations on the book. It's Inside the NFL's First Family, My Life of Football, Faith, and Fatherhood, and it just came out last week. And of course, you can get it on Howard Books and where else?
Anywhere books are sold and online anywhere as well.
Hey, Bruce, thanks so much for taking the time, and best of luck on Sunday and, of course, 2 Sundays after that.
Okay, John. Thank you very much.
Hope to see you in the next couple weeks.
Sounds good. Thank you.
That's it for this week's edition of Schooled. Thanks for listening. Class dismissed.